So, Dr. Volpe, thank you so much for joining us today. You've been collaborating with Dance Well for several years now. In what ways do you see positive benefits from dance for people living with Parkinson's? And I'm curious about this on the physical, the emotional, and the social level.
And my first impression when I discovered Dance Well, I was very surprised because I recognize in the Dance Well some interesting field for research in rehabilitation. No? And what I noticed during these 10 years was many interesting aspects and also benefit for people with Parkinson's disease, but not only on motor and non-motor symptoms, but also under the emotional and social aspect.
From your perspective, how are you witnessing that?
Dance Well includes many interesting aspects of rehabilitation, such as aerobic exercise, proprioceptive training, sensory motor training, balance training, which are all a very fundamental component of the rehabilitation. I think about the strength of Dance Well is the artistic environment, no? And so it includes three very important components, which are one is the dance, the second one is the music, and the third is to perform in artistic environment, which is very important because we have now in research interesting findings showing how to perform in an artistic environment is much better than in a gym.
On what level do you think this artistic environment is working? Is it a level of identity, like how they see themselves, or on what level do you find the impact?
This is very good open research question because till now we don't know. But what we know is that art, the creative process of art interventions is unique. Watching a painting of an artist is positive, and because yes, it stimulates some of the area of the brain, no? And but I think about the active art process is more interesting because it permits also to activate some networks in the brain which are correlated with the limbic and mesolimbic of areas of the brain, but usually we don't use. No, for example, the Parkinsonian, they have problem in the sensory motor cortex because there is a deficit in the somatosensory processing of the information at a different level of the brain, especially in particular in the basal ganglia. No? And I think that art is able to activate the network deputated to the activation of this area of this information.
So now you make me really curious about if you're able to describe the way that dance is stimulating that area in the brain versus perhaps other movement activities or other sports or other therapeutic methods. Like, does the dance activate that part of the brain in a different way that you've seen so far, or is that still to be researched?
No, that's right. That's correct. Yes, because the normal dance, is based on music, and it activates mostly the sensory motor cortex deputed to the movement, to the activation of the movement. But the Dance Well with also activated through the art and the music, activate also the mesolimbic area, the other cortex area.
Okay.
And so we have both involved with Dance Well, all the brain.
We're also very, very curious about if you've observed a difference between when movement is improvised or in real-time composition versus if it's set or choreographed movement. Have you noticed a difference in this?
Yes, there is a big difference because when the patient with Parkinson activated improvisation, he's able to use the network regarding attention. attentional movement. And so he's able to move well through the improvisations.
Do you think that's because they're having to be instantly creative? They're having to invent? Do you think it's that or something else?
Yes, because they're using the creativity, which is very important, that they are able just to use the right networks.
That's
Yes,
so interesting that the desire to invent
there's
can trigger a new movement
yes.
pattern. That's really exciting. And I'm curious if you have developed or could articulate how you've developed specific ways to research dance, like if there's been, how you've specifically developed research tools for dance.
Oh, yes, I adopted a normal, trial for research, randomized, with the goal of the research and the method results. But also we are using instrumental, measures, such as, for example, the three motion capture motion analysis, which
Okay.
is very important. For example, now we are also observing how the face expression changes before and after a dance well classes. No, with the bioengineers, engineers, we are able also to capture the expression through the six expression of Alchemy, how change before and after. It's very interesting, yeah.
And what are you finding in this, in the before and after?
Of course, they improved, of course, after yes, the training with dance well, and in particular, they improved in two emotions, anger and fear.
But this is an interesting counterpoint to I think what we think most about with dance, which is the joy, right? The pleasure. But it's so interesting to me to think about the capacity to be able to more express that, how this might release or open up other possibilities if it's been if it stays kind of under or not able to come out. And so what's the next frontier? What's the future frontier of what you're looking or interested to research about dance well?
I think that we should understand better the impact of dance well on motion, but also how the artistic component of this. I consider dance well not a simple dance, but a multisensorial artistic intervention. With combined arts. And I'm very interested to explore the art component, how the art impacts in the brain during dance well.
Great. Well, we're lucky to have you as a partner on this. So thank you so much for this time and for sharing us a few insights.
Thank you, Monica.
Really, really appreciate it.